Hey, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the iconic BD2 blues driver from Boss. So today I really want to revisit for myself the blues driver. This is a iconically classic overdrive that has been on boards for so long, but for me personally, and I feel like that there's a lot of you that could relate to this, it's been a long time since I've actually sat down and played a blues driver. It really started at the beginning of the pedal board craze, and you saw it on everything. And originally, the BD2 blues driver was supposed to emulate like a cranked tube amp to get just all of the classic and a broad strokes blues sounds. But it really started the transparent overdrive, your kind of low gain overdrive, and the obsession of that, like for me personally, and finding all these different flavors. The blues driver has its own really classic flavor, really known by being played by several different people. Andy Timmons uses it for his clean tone. He has a blues driver set, really low gain, and then he rolls off the volume on his guitar. He's got a treble bleed, and that's his clean sound. And then you have players like John Mayer who use it for his iconic Good Love Is on the Way tone. So you know, this pedal has a reputation of its own, and today we're just going to explore revisiting it, seeing what tones we can get out of it. Before we get into anything, let's talk about signal chain, playing my Fender Mustang straight into the blues driver, into my Smart Bell Dumble ODS style head, into the Little John Capps prototype #1 loaded with EVM 12Ls, mic'd with a 57 and an SE Electronics small diaphragm condenser. Here's my clean tone on the neck pickup. Start with everything at noon. Pretty bright and crispy, especially with the way I have this amp set. Let's take the tone down just a little bit and bring the gain down as well. It's a really sweet and clean sound with, there's a lot going on in the mids there to where they're not humped, they're not very present and forward, but there is some harmonic content that you can hear that's just kind of singing there, and kind of forces you to play a lot cleaner, a little more melodic, and kind of open chordy. That's kind of the headspace that it puts me in. Let's crank the gain a little bit more. So you can hear there's a lot of fullness. It's kind of woolly on the bottom end, but it really, you can dig into it and it starts to compress quite a bit. If you notice, it's still kind of bright and crispy. It's got a chiminess to this pedal, and this is really what I remember from this pedal is the chiminess. But we're going to leave everything where it is and just listen to that tone knob and see how much high end there is on tap. And just a caveat, something that I really strongly believe is that you always want way more treble than you need, because you can always cut treble, but you can't add it without adding noise. And so this pedal being pretty bright and you're having to like tame it down with the tone knob, I feel like that is a benefit of this pedal, because you can cut that high end down to a more tamed level. But let's hear what we have on tap in those regards. You can hear there's a lot of presence built into this pedal. Let's leave it where it is and roll back the volume on the guitar and see what the cleanup is like. You can hear there is kind of a scooped, really hollow feel, but it's kind of reinforces the idea of a clean electric guitar sound. You can see why Andy Timmons does that. can hear that cleanup is really hollow sounding. You can, really feel that reinforcement of a clean sound. When you roll back on the guitar's volume, you're kind of bringing that gain down, but then you've got plenty on tap to go from there. Plenty of gain on tap with this pedal. It goes well beyond, our classic blues sounds. Let's tame the high end a little bit and see how much gain we have on tap. You can hear plenty of gain here, but the way that I find this pedal is most versatile is taming that high end and having just enough gain to where it sits in that low gain to medium gain sound, and then you're just really using the dynamics of your guitar's volume, how much you want it to kind of give back to you and more saturated. It's a great first overdrive, and it's really versatile. And by first, I really mean first in line, because I always run my overdrives lowest gain to highest gain. The way that I stack, if I stack, it's just a preference, but it's a little abnormal. Most people start with their highest gain and then go lower gain from there down the signal chain. But this is a great first, lowest stage of overdrive pedal, but it's got plenty of gain on tap to where it can sit, anywhere from that really clean, just add some chime and some harmonic content, low gain overdrive territory, all the way up to a mid gain territory. And there's a reason why this pedal has been around, for 20 something years on people's pedal boards really consistently. It is part of what shaped the sound of overdrives after it. It is one of those early overdrives. It's not, the first line, it's not SD1 territory, but when we think about modern overdrives, a lot, can be found its roots in some of these early Boss overdrive pedals. Again, everything from that super clean Andy Timmons, to a gainier sound like Mayer's Good Love Is on the Way. can hear, that specific chime and kind of sag. That again, there's kind of like a slight muddiness to the low mid frequency range, but in tandem with that really chimey harmonic content fueled high end, and there's a lot of adjectives there. You can hear that sound all over records all the time. And so this is a kind of a quicker demo, but just revisiting this classic overdrive, and it might not be the #1 hot newest overdrive on the market, but it's definitely worth checking out if you are in the market for a lower gain overdrive that isn't a tube screamer. This is so not that mid-humpy climb to tube screamer territory thing. It really sits on its own and in its own realm, and is more of a flat sounding, if not more scooped, just in the way that we hear it. However, there are some great demos of this pedal side by side to a tube screamer, maybe a Noble's ODR1, which iconically is a lot flatter. And it's interesting how this plays out, because I hear the sound and I think a lot more scooped, but I think it's just because we've got some low mid content and some really chimey high end presence that kind of forces your ear towards that scooped sound. But you can see how versatile it is. I love how much high end is on tap, because that means I can tame it. I'm not going to be struggling to get the high end that I need to cut, and that's really important in an overdrive, is having enough high end to cut through the mix, especially in those upper mids. And having to add that, again, you'll always add noise as well, and so having plenty on this pedal to be able to cut back is great. And if you've seen one of my recent videos, I kind of tore apart my main board to throw a bunch of overdrives on it to see what I'm going to end up using for this album as I'm writing it. And this is definitely a contender on here. Revisiting this classic pedal has put me in some inspiring places as far as tone goes. So it's worth checking out. Hopefully you enjoyed this kind of quicker revisiting of a classic overdrive. If this is the kind of content that you enjoy, I please ask that you like and subscribe. It's a new channel we're trying to grow. I appreciate everybody who's been commenting and checking out different tones and different pedals on this channel. Let me know what other classic overdrives you think we should revisit on this channel in the future. Until next time, I've been Colin. All right. Hey, how's it going? Miking with a fit. Before we get into anything, I'm using my here is, before we get into anything, that is a virgin. And so, this pedal, you can hear, that specific chime and kind of sag. That again, there's kind of like a slight muddiness to the low mid frequency range, but in tandem with that really chimey harmonic content fueled high end, and there's a lot of adjectives there.